to the Monday, April 11th, 2022 special meeting of the Town of Woodbridge Board of Police Commissioners and Woodbridge Traffic Authority. Chief, is there any reason why we would need to start with the Traffic Authority first, or we can just run down the agenda?
No, you could run right down the agenda.
So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from January 20th, 2022. The only concern I have is, do we have a quorum for that day?
Doesn't matter. Do we need a quorum for that day, or do we need a quorum for the meeting?
Well, Dr. Seer, were you at the meeting on the 20th?
Yes.
Okay, then we're fine. Is there a motion to approve the meeting
Yep.
minutes for January 20th, 2022?
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, any comments, suggestions, edits? All those in favor? Oh, I'm supposed to
Aye.
go down the tally. Mr.
Aye.
Esposito
Aye, approve.
and Dr. Desir.
Yes, aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda are public comments. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address the board, or is there any correspondence that Frank, you received through Janice?
No, there's not.
I don't see any. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address? Oh, wait a second. There are people that want to enter. Just bear with me a moment. Let me just wait for them to join, folks. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address the board tonight? Okay, hearing no one, I'll move on to the next item of the agenda is the review of the reports. First, the financial report.
Okay, so at this point, we're 3/4 of the way through our current fiscal year, and overall, we're on target and we remain within budget. We're at approximately 73% used at this time. So as I said, we're on target and going well with that. Some lines that you see if watching closely, our part-time mechanic is getting up there a little bit due to repairs. Our overtime, police officer overtime, which we're monitoring. Our dispatch overtime is way up, but that's with everything that's been going on with COVID and extended absences, and then most recently we've been down at dispatcher for a bit now. So that's the reason for that. And one line that's very high is the repair maintenance on the vehicles, and that's for parts and those things. And that's just all from repairs that are coming up on the high mileage and older vehicles. But other than that, overall, as I said, we're within budget, so all good.
Are there any questions of the chief?
Frank, you're down one dispatcher. That dispatcher is officially left?
Yes, yep, and I'll address that when we get to personnel. Yeah, but she left. Yep,
Okay.
she's gone for
She's gone.
a few weeks
Okay.
now.
Any other questions? Okay, is there a motion to approve the financial report?
I'll make a motion to approve financial report.
I'm counting on my second. Thank
Second.
you, Dr. Seer. Now on to the vote, unless there are any other comments. Is there, Mr. Esposito, how do you vote?
Approve. In favor of.
Approved.
Okay, so that passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the activity report.
Okay, so I'll give you a criminal activity recap for January, February, and March. We had one burglary. It was actually an attempted burglary down on Lucy Street, where attempt was made at entry into an apartment. We had a total of 18 fraud investigations, and those centered around stolen and altered checks, online scams, and identity theft related incidents for the most part. We had 20 different larceny investigations. We had a snowblower stolen from a commercial business, several thefts of catalytic converters from parked vehicles, which has become a statewide issue, as I'm sure you know. We had some stolen off of a vehicle. We had 2 incidents where purses or jewelry were stolen from parked cars, and 1 incident where a purse was stolen from a vehicle that was fueling up at a local service station down in the business area. We had the 1 robbery that was back in January, and that's when we've discussed prior, the attempted carjacking on Lucy Street. We had 2 overdoses over the last 3 months. They were both occurred at private residences. They were both unrelated, and one did involve a fentanyl overdose. Over the last 3 months, we served 14 arrest warrants. We had 1 arrest involving a weapon, which was the result of an investigation into a motor vehicle accident on Baldwin Road. And the officers located a loaded semi-automatic handgun in the vehicle, and the operator had no permit to carry. We had 5 incidents involving stolen motor vehicles. There were 2 recovered stolen motor vehicles from other jurisdictions, which we recovered in our town. And then we had 3 stolen vehicles. 1 was stolen overnight from a parking lot on Route 69. Another one was stolen out of one of the local restaurants when the patron went inside to pick up an item. And the 3rd was also stolen outside of another restaurant down in DeAndrea's Plaza there. And during that one, the 3 suspects took the gentleman's car, and he sustained some injuries when he grabbed onto the car as it was fleeing. Some criminal arrests of interest for the past few months. I told you we made an arrest in the carjacking in January. On January 4th, officers responded to the Amity High School on a reported activated fire alarm, and it was determined that the alarm had been set off deliberately, so the student was charged in accordance with that. At the end of January, officers responded to the Bradley Road area on a report of unconscious male. They located a suspect who was ingesting narcotics and subsequently arrested him for charges associated with that. On February 23rd, officers responded to an accident at Baldwin and Greenway, made a narcotics-related arrest there and associated with the operator of that vehicle. On February 24th, one of our officers observed a subject that he was familiar with who had, I believe, 3 outstanding warrants. He noticed him on foot down at one of the businesses on Lower 69 and was able to take him into custody without incident. As I mentioned, we had the incident at the end of February with the firearm in the vehicle. And then this past month, on March 1st, an officer working an extra duty assignment located a stolen motor vehicle on Ansonia Road and was able to make an arrest on that. On March 17th, officers responded to a disturbance on Litchfield Turnpike in the area of Clark Road. It was a verbal dispute that they ended up making an arrest in regards to violation of a protective order. And March 24th, officers went on another medical complaint, and that was involved the overdose in the fentanyl and made arrests in some narcotic seizure on that. As far as an ISU update for investigative services, they assisted patrol and/or assumed numerous cases over the past 3 months. The majority of those were associated with the large number of larcenies and identity thefts and frauds that I mentioned earlier. They also had 7 pistol permit background investigations that are ongoing, and as well as background checks that they're working on and are pending on. It was 16 dispatcher applicants as of the end of March, and 3 certified officer applicants. So they have all that going on. They've also been working closely with the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Postal Inspector's Office on numerous new and pending investigations associated with thefts of mail from around our area and in transit and all the other surrounding towns as well. Detectives recently traveled to Massachusetts and they participated with the FBI in the execution of a search warrant on one of the investigations that involved an incident that occurred in our town, which they're jointly investigating with the federal authorities. And Detective Iannucci, who has assumed our IT responsibilities, has been, in conjunction with his ISU duties, has been facilitating numerous upgrades and other responsibilities as our liaison to TBNG during our ongoing network upgrade. And then over the past few months, they performed 25 requests, 40 public fingerprinting requests over the last 3 months. And that's all I have for the criminal activity, and Deputy Chief will give you some of our traffic activity over the last few months.
Chief, could I just ask a question about the fraud and the check fraud? Is there a special unit there that investigates that, or do you investigate it in cooperation with bank investigators?
Yeah, so it's our guys in the Detective Bureau. You know, we don't have a special unit just for that, but our people in collaboration with the bank fraud people, they have a specialized unit just for that. And then in the Postal Inspector's Office has created a little unit that they're actually pooling all the information. So everyone's sending the related cases to them, and they're trying to link the commonalities to see if we can come up with suspects and so forth. And also to determine where the thefts are occurring. You know, we're not sure if where they occur. They could occur from, you know, your curbside mailbox, or in transit, or from the USPS box, or at the point of the final destination, or somewhere in between. So that presents complicates matters, makes it a big jurisdictional problem for everyone of whose case really it is. We don't know where it originated, but so that's why it's a federal offense. So they're kind of taking the lead and they're the center point for everyone.
And then there was somebody who was on extra duty assignment and made an arrest. What's an extra duty assignment?
That officer was working traffic duty, like private duty road construction job. Okay, I'll turn it over to the deputy.
Good evening, everyone. With regards to our traffic activity, we've received a multitude of complaints from residents on Ansonia Road, Ansonia and Johnson Road, Baldwin Road, and Litchfield Turnpike over the last few months. With regards to Ansonia and Johnson Road, we conducted 50 radar assignments, which resulted in 6 motor vehicle stops. We also were able to do a comprehensive traffic study on the strip of land between Ansonia Road and Rimmon Road, the Johnson Road section of that. We then focused our efforts in the 200 block of Ansonia Road, where we conducted 25 radar assignments, which resulted in 9 motor vehicle stops. We went to Litchfield Turnpike, where cars are continuously traveling at an unreasonable rate of speed. We conducted 123 radar assignments, which resulted in 28 motor vehicle stops. And currently, we received a couple of complaints on Baldwin Road, and we're focusing our efforts on Baldwin Road with both the speed trailer and speed enforcement. During the last few months, I did a little statistical data between January 1st and March 31st. We have increased, our motor vehicle accidents have increased approximately 40%, nearly 41% in the same time period of 2021 compared to today. Our officers, however, have made quite a few more motor vehicle stops than this time last year. We've increased 756% from last year in our motor vehicle activity. So we're being active out there, looking for violations, and whether it's making a difference or not, it's hard to say at this point. Thank you.
Thank you for your efforts, because I've asked about this before, and you were right on it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Are there any other questions of the chief or deputy? Okay, is there a motion to approve the activity report?
I'll make a motion to approve the activity report.
I made the motion first.
Oh, did you make a motion?
Well, I was signaling.
All right, then you make the motion. I'll be happy to second it.
Make the motion.
Okay.
So what a surprise. Mr. Esposito, you're seconding it. Okay.
I'm seconding it.
So, Mr. Esposito, how do you vote on whether to approve or not accept the activity?
I
report?
approve.
And Dr. Desir?
I approve.
Okay, it passes unanimously. Moving on to the report of the chief.
The first item that I have is rescheduling our May meeting. The upcoming annual town meeting pertaining to the budget has been scheduled for the evening of Monday, May 16th. And that conflicts with our May Board of Police Commissioner meeting. So we'll need to pick another date and then reschedule that, the special meeting as well.
The 23rd work?
Can we get back to that? I can't access my calendar at this second.
The
Move
next,
on, we'll get back to that
okay.
in a moment.
The second item I had was a ballistic vest donation. I sent out a press release, and I'm sure you probably saw it. But several weeks ago, Officer Joseph Kubik reached out to his Ukrainian friend, who's a Woodbridge resident, who still has family over in Ukraine. Officer Kubik inquired of him if there's any possibility of things that we might be able to do to help the people in Ukraine. And he was told that they were in desperate need of ballistic vests and any kind of medical first aid supplies that they could get their hands on. So Officer Kubik, with the assistance of Officer Pedalino, were able to coordinate the donation of numerous ballistic vests and medical supplies, including tourniquets, from the police department to lend support and to aid to the people of Ukraine. So which started out as a simple conversation between Officer Kubik and his friend in town. It blossomed into a really great way for us and other police departments in the area to assist those in need during the terrible crisis that's going on over there. So I just wanted to recognize both of them for their efforts with that. This month, we have the Connecticut Distracted Driving High Visibility Enforcement Grant. So on several different dates during the month, we'll have traffic details in place with officers specifically targeting cell phone use and distracted drivers. This is the second wave of this distracted driving campaign that's going on statewide, and it's all 100% funded through a Connecticut DOT Highway Safety grant that we were awarded. We did the first half of that back in the fall, and this is the second wave that's going on now for the spring.
So other than, the obvious cell phone use, what are some of the other, distracted driving is broad. What are some of the other things that you?
It could be, we have people putting on makeup, using all kinds of different cellular devices. We've seen people, believe it or not, using an electric razor or portable electric razor. It could be just talking to not paying attention, people with pets on their laps and, animals. And there's a whole array of different things. So it's not just cell phones, but that seems to be the predominant one, despite all the efforts that have been going on over the years, promote awareness with that, still continues. The next item I had was just an update on our JAG grant. We were recently notified by the State Office of Policy and Management that our application to receive $25,000 in available funding through the 2022 Federal Justice Administration JAG grant that I informed the board about in December has been approved. So these funds are also 100% reimbursable, and they'll assist with our technology enhancements and allow us to move forward with the upgrading of our accident reconstruction software and also our patrol mobile data terminals and modems to reduce our risk of cybersecurity attack and vulnerability. So that all worked out good. Tomorrow afternoon, from 3 to 5, we'll be hosting a coffee with a cop event in the courtyard of the Woodbridge Elderly Housing Complex on Lucy Street. As I mentioned earlier, we had that armed robbery, attempted carjacking that occurred in the parking lot there, involving a suspect who had brandished a handgun. And since then, and with everything else that's been going on, around town and adjoining city and so forth, the residents have been uneasy and concerned, and they've been in contact with the deputy chief and with Officer Pedalino, and also with their property management company following that incident. So the deputy and Officer Pedalino have been staying in close communication with them and put this together. So we'll look forward to meeting with them in person tomorrow afternoon, and it'll give us the opportunity to discuss personal safety and address any other concerns that they might have. The event's scheduled to be outside, so that'll alleviate any COVID concerns, and the weather, from what we saw, looks like it's going to cooperate at this time as well. And again, Starbucks from Litchfield Turnpike is assisting by sponsoring coffee and I believe some snacks for the event. So if anyone's available and would like to stop down between 3 and 5, you're definitely welcome to join in. That'll be going on tomorrow. And the final thing I had is from back in February. 2 members of the police department participated in the Connecticut Special Olympics Penguin Plunge fundraiser. And I'd like to recognize and thank Officer Pedalino and also former Officer Carl Rodriguez Perez, who represented our department at the event. On February 26th, they took the plunge into the ice cold waters of Crystal Lake in Middletown, and they raised donations in excess of $1,700. And once again, I believe this is the second or third time that they've done that. And just a great job with representing our department and raising funds for such an important organization. And that's all I had for my report.
Does anyone have any questions of the chief?
Address of the coffee event tomorrow. I heard Lucy Street.
Yes, the elderly housing apartments there. So it's right behind the old Woodbridge Gathering, Los Brazos, I believe it is, restaurant there, right in the middle of the block. I think it's 18 Lucy Street, across from JP Motors.
Chief, I had a question for you.
Sure.
Where were the ballistic vests obtained from? The
So
donation?
the ballistic vests came from us, and they are the vests that we have. So what happens is we're issued vests for certified vests that are certified for a quantified amount of time, quantified period of time, after which time we take them out of service because they don't meet the specifications, law enforcement specifications that we go by, and we replace them all for our personnel, but they're replaced using federal grant money that's designed specifically for that. So I think we're on a 5-year cycle, and the vests are so many vests every at that point are done. So when they no longer meet our requirements and specifications, the vests are still functional and they could be repurposed or reused for something like that, but it's not something we use. So, and that's what happened with, we're a small department, so we don't have many, but some of the larger departments turn over a significant number when they go through their same, recycling way. And sometimes we use it for training and for demonstration to show how penetration works with, maybe a handgun round of ammunition versus a long rifle and things like that. But they're really no safety use for us any longer.
So the decommissioned vests, they're vests that were no longer.
Correct. Yes.
Were there any other questions?
Did you want to go, before we leave this section, did you want to go back to the meeting date or no?
Unfortunately, my calendar is still dead on my phone, so I can't. But I mean, I guess we can pick a date, and hopefully that'll
Maybe
work.
Monday the 23rd. I don't know if that works.
I would look to Mr. Esposito and Dr. Seer.
You're
Is that
suggesting the 23rd?
Yes, does that take?
Hold on, the 23rd might be a problem. Hold on. The 23rd of April or May? May.
May.
Hold on.
We're going to change the May date.
I can't do that Monday. If I have a meeting at 6. I can do.
Okay. What other dates would you propose, Chief?
Maybe the 17th possibly. It's kind of the middle of the month, so that way we won't be too close to our April meeting. 17th, Tuesday the 17th. I don't know if that works for anyone, for everyone.
I'm good on the 17th.
That's Tuesday.
Tuesday the 17th.
Um,
Oh, it's can't do the 17th. We're trying to keep it not too close to what date?
The third Monday in April.
So what about Tuesday, the 24th?
You have meetings all day.
Yeah, that's the one day that's bad for the deputy because we have like an exercise all day, and then directly as soon as that one gets done, we go right into another one. So we're going to be tied up for a full day.
Okay.
Any other day pretty much will work.
Because the 23rd, I have 2 meetings, and one of them might get canceled, but I can't guarantee that. So that's
Wednesday, the 18th.
But yeah, or the 10th or the 18th or the.
how, if we can do it a little, we've got an all-day rheumatology meeting at Yale on the 18th, but I'm willing to do it after that. But it had 6, can we push it back to 6:30? In case it's live, so I can get home.
That's up to you guys.
What day is this now?
When May 18th, Wednesday.
Wednesday, the 18th.
that's
What
fine.
about the week before? Is that too early?
Mhm.
The 9th?
The 9th will work.
At 6:15?
I can, the 9th. So it's still a Monday, so it still keeps us on a regular meeting day. I can do that, or I can do the 18th. It looks like, yeah, the thing that I have Wednesday, the 18th is supposed to be over at 5. And my guess is it's going to be, unless something happens with COVID, it's going to be a live event. So. Do you want, either day?
I'm sorry, either day?
Good for the 9th?
The 9th or the 18th?
I'm good for either,
Um,
9 or 18.
let me just see.
I prefer the 9th, but, well, even if they do something after that symposium,
So the 9th?
up to you guys.
The 18th would be easier for me if you could swing that.
Let's do the 18th then.
Okay. 18th at 6:15.
6:30? No, it's
18th.
Jan-
That's
is
good.
that on? Janice, can you send that, do you mind sending that to my administrative assistant? Because she sends me wonderful calendar thingies to put on my.
Yeah, just please email me her email address.
Oh, I thought you you had it. You were sending them, sure. Or maybe I am. If you send it to me, I'll send it to her. Just if it's something in writing.
Okay, so just to be clear, it's going to be Wednesday, May 18th, but at 6:30?
No, you guys wanted to keep the same time, 6:15?
At 6:15. We can do
Okay.
6:15. Let's keep the same time.
They want to keep the same time.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So you'll send that out, Janice?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yes, I lost track if we voted on the report of the chief.
No,
We
not
did
yet.
not. We
Okay.
did not.
Is there a motion to approve the report of the chief?
I move we approve the report of the chief.
Is there a second? Anyone out there?
I will
No.
second.
Thank you. Any discussion? And now for our vote, Dr. Desir
Oh.
and Mr. Esposito?
Nope.
Okay, that carries unanimously. Next item on our agenda are the personnel matters.
So do you not vote unless there's a tie?
No, I'm voting. I have to vote because we can't vote with just two people now.
Okay.
So that's why I said it's unanimous. I'm including my vote in that.
Okay, the first item under personnel matters is the promotion of sergeant. So our promotional exam testing for the position of sergeant to fill the vacancy that was created by Sergeant Ed Thomas when he retired. That process has been completed. It was actually completed last month. And the process was overseen and administered by the South Central Criminal Justice Administration, with a written portion of the examination conducted on March 8th, followed by the oral board examination portion by an outside independent board on March 10th. I'm pleased to report that Officer Brian Pedalino, who has been with us for just over 8 years now, he's been here since December of 2013, was the successful candidate in that. And with that, I just could tell you that, Brian's a graduate of Southern Connecticut State University. He's been very involved, I think while he's at school, and ever since he's been here, in the community policing initiatives. He's very involved with Special Olympics, as I just talked about the Penguin Plunge. He initiated our Stuff a Cruiser event, and that's become an annual event for the last a very successful annual event for the last several years. He's involved with this Coffee with a Cop, the last one we had. He's always been involved with the torch run. He's been our representative to the Connecticut Special Olympics, representing the department. While we participated for years, he was a member of the Regional Southwest Emergency Response Team and represented us well there. He's an instructor, certified in a few different areas for us now, and he's also involved with peer support, counseling, and officer wellness. So with that, in a successful completion of the testing process, it's my recommendation, without any hesitation, that he be promoted to sergeant, and I offer that to the board for your consideration.
So we haven't, I don't recall during this board that we've ever been part of a promotion. I would imagine that's something we'd have to vote upon, Chief?
Yes, absolutely, because you.
Okay. Well, the first comment I'd like to make is, as a town, we're very fortunate to have an officer like Officer Pedalino, I've heard wonderful things over the tenure as being the chair. It's nice that you're so actively involved in our community. So I really admire that, and congratulations. This is a promotion that, from what I understand, is incredibly well-deserved, and we're fortunate to have you. I don't know if either other commissioner has anything to say before we vote on the promotion.
Just congratulations, and
Congratulations. I second what you said.
we are
Yeah,
both proud.
congratulations.
Um,
You earned it.
So I am proud to make this, this request. Is there a motion to promote Officer Petalino to the position of sergeant?
I'll move that.
We have two movements. We just need one. Whose turn?
It was my turn.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Esposito. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any further comment or discussion? Now moving on to the vote. Dr. Desir, what is your vote?
Approve, I approve.
Mr. Esposito,
Approved.
and that is unanimous. Congratulations, Sergeant Petalino.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I have questions about the testing and the process, because I guess we don't know much about it. So how many people sit for the exam every year? What's the pass rate? And
Right, so you have to have a minimum of 3 years on the job. And we had 15 people who I believe were eligible. 5 people participated in the examination. And it's comprised of 3 parts. It's the 50% is the oral, 40 is the 50% is the written exam, 40% is the oral, and 10% is a performance evaluation. And it's all administered by the South Central Criminal Justice. So they do all the testing, and we really have no involvement other than getting the scores. And the oral board consists of panelists that we don't know who they are. And I actually just meet them briefly that morning when they get here to introduce myself and tell them about our department. But they're ranking personnel from other departments. I believe this time there was 2 lieutenants and the captain from various departments. And then what we get provided is the overall scores, and then we go from there. That's it. So congratulations, Sergeant Petalino, and I know
Congratulations.
you're working tonight and you're on virtually, but I'll see you, and Deputy Chief and I will both see you after the meeting in person. So,
Thank you again.
you're welcome.
Congratulations, Brian.
Are you his dad?
Yeah, we're proud of you, Brian.
well, if you're his dad,
Sergeant Petalino.
if you're his dad, congratulations to you too. Because
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank
The
you.
only regret that I have is that we can't shake both of your hands in person tonight. So
All right.
one day that will be possible.
All righty. Thank you very much.
All
Thanks.
right, good night.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Congratulations. Okay, the next item I had was a motion to hire clarification. So at our last meeting, the board voted unanimously to hire Stefano Morello as a certified police officer. However, the stipulations of his hiring, although we discussed them, we never put them formally on record. So for that reason, we need to do that tonight and make it retroactive to his date of hire, which was February 23rd, 2022. So the details of that, and as they have been for the last few certified officers that we hired, was that he's hired at grade B salary with 5 vacation days. And after the completion of 1 year's service, his pay will move up to grade A. And after the completion of 1 year's service, he will receive 10 vacation days. So we just need a motion to confirm that, and that it will be retroactive to February 23rd when he started.
So I'll make a motion which adopts the language that the chief just articulated.
I'll second it.
Dr. Sear, you moved and Mr. Esposito seconded it, I believe. I
I'll be
I'm
happy to
just
let
kind
it
of making
sit.
this up as I go along. Is there any
I
discussion?
So I just have just a logistical question. How did that happen?
How did we not have the facts?
Yeah.
We were just so excited to do what we were doing. We just, lost the details.
Okay, all right.
I was probably just trying to move things along, and that's how sometimes things don't work out well when you do that. So we have to vote now. Mr. Esposito
Aye.
and Dr. Desir. Okay, it carries unanimously.
The next item was also for Officer Moriello. It's regarding his college degree pay. So as customary, once they get here, he was able to provide he has both his bachelor's and his master's degree. So I request the board's approval in granting him the contractual college incentive degree pay of 8% also retroactive to his date of hire, which was February 23rd. So we need a motion for that.
It's a busy
What
night.
does it, I'm sorry, what does that amount to, Frank? In dollar?
Well, I don't have it right in front of me, but I could follow up with you offline and tell you.
All right, fine, okay.
It's 8% of his base.
8% of his base pay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion which adopts that language?
It's Andy's turn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second, okay.
Okay, things are falling apart here. Dr. Desir moved and Mr. Esposito seconded.
No, the other way around. Mr. Esposito moved and I seconded.
Actually, I thought you moved, Robert.
No, Mr.
I thought you made the
Almost at
motion.
that point. So,
Let me clarify for Janice's minutes. Mr. Esposito moved, Dr. Desir seconded.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
That'll work.
Esposito, how do you vote?
aye.
In favor, Dr. Desir?
Aye.
In favor. Also carries unanimously. Resignations.
Moving on, we had two resignations since our last meeting. I think everybody was aware that we have been discussing those, but one was Officer Rodriguez Perez. He officially submitted his resignation from our department on February 25th, and he took a position down at Yale University PD. And then also our dispatcher, Leslie Rivera Arbello, submitted her resignation, and that went into effect on March 7th. So we've been out without both of them. So I just wanted to make the board aware of that. And then
She took another position elsewhere? Or?
she took another position with a private, in the private sector as a dispatcher, but it wasn't a swing shift kind of thing. It's a Monday through Friday, and there was a bunch of perks that she felt were more accommodating for her and her family. So in conjunction with those, we also, that kind of segue into our dispatcher and officer hiring. So that leaves us with one patrol officer vacancy, that's to replace Officer Rodriguez Perez, and one dispatcher vacancy for dispatcher Rivera Arbello, both which we'd like to fill as soon as possible, because we're really getting impacted with that especially for the dispatchers, for their working conditions. We're at the point now, like this week, there's one on vacation, so we're down to 4 dispatchers. And if somebody, God forbid, gets sick or whatever, the dispatcher that's on is forced to stay over. And that gets old. We've been through that through COVID and all. But long and short of it, we'd like to fill them both as soon as possible, because it's also impacting our overtime on both of those lines. The police officer position is currently posted on the police app website. It's on the town website. It's on the Connecticut Post website for certified officer candidates. In our dispatcher position by contract, it was posted internally for 10 days, and it's currently posted on the police app website and the town website. So we need to move forward with the hiring process for both of those positions. And to date, so far we've had 8 applications for certified officers. And I believe we've whittled that down to 3 at this point, 2 or 3 that I'll talk about. And as of just this afternoon, I believe we have 18 applicants, dispatcher applicants, but some were more qualified than others. So we've been going through the vetting process, just in anticipation of getting approval to hire and moving that process along. So I guess the first step would be approval to hire for both of those positions. So I need a motion.
Okay. Is there a motion to grant the authority to conduct that hiring process?
So moved.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Sorry. Moving on to the vote, Dr. Desir. How do you vote?
Approved.
Mr. Esposito?
Approved.
That carries unanimously.
Okay, and then probably along with that, in association with that, so the candidates that we have vetted in the next, week or very shortly thereafter, if we want to continue the process the way we've been doing it, I could bring them before the personnel subcommittee, which would be Dr. Desir. Is that how we want to continue with the process so we could keep it going?
I would expect at the May Board of Selectmen meeting, they will likely fill 2 spots on our board. Is there an urgency to do that immediately? If there is, then we can.
I mean, I'm just saying probably the sooner the better if we want to save on the overtime. But
How many?
Are we talking about this week?
No, it would be next week. It definitely wouldn't be this week.
Because if it's this week, I happen to have a lot of flexibility this
No,
week.
it would be next week.
Okay.
Can you do that?
This is a short week anyway. Yeah, so
Debbie,
definitely.
can you do that?
Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, I can.
Does that work, Chief?
I just have to check with the deputy and the people involved, but we could try that. I'll coordinate with Dr. Desir.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to continue that. She has the knowledge of having done these before, so I prefer to do it that way.
We'll work with her and try to coordinate. So what works best for everybody. We'll
Okay.
get that done as soon as we could. We'll keep the process going. Thanks.
Our committee membership is dwindling. We have 1 person on budget, 1 person on personnel. So hopefully that will be supplemented.
Makes the voting easier.
It does. It moves this along.
It certainly does. It certainly makes it easier.
And just moving on for the update on our new officer, again, that's Officer Moriello. As I reported earlier, he started on the 23rd. He has successfully completed our certified officer field training program. Our field training officers were Sergeant Blooms, Officer Capazzo, and Officer Alawi. They're all 3 of them are certified field training officers with the state, and they provided us training, and all of them expressed to us that he was very professional, knowledgeable, and a pleasure for them to train, and that he exhibited no deficiencies. So based on their recommendation, effective April 3rd, he was released to part of our minimum manpower staffing levels. So he's in the mix now. He's out on solo patrol.
Right.
And the last item under personnel was just officer recognition. Last month, I issued an acknowledgement to Officer Capazzo in the form of a letter of recognition, commending him for a job well done in regards to an incident occurred on March 11th. He had responded to residents on a report of an unconscious person. He's a certified drug recognition expert, and he evaluated the patient and determined the symptoms to be that of an apparent drug overdose. He was able to promptly administer Narcan. at which time the patient regained consciousness and was provided further medical assistance and ultimately survived that incident. So kudos to Officer Capozzo and his acceptance of that formal mission for his act.
Chief, would you consider submitting these type of recognitions as a press release? Because I think it'd be nice to be, I mean, it's nice to be, recognized within your colleagues, but I think it'd be nice to be recognized. I think, the community would like to see things like this that our officers are doing.
Yep. No, we will. We'll put those on. We'll get them onto our Facebook and on the town website as well.
I think it's,
Great.
also, let's also lets them know what's going on in the community. Things are like this are happening in Woodbridge, Connecticut.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and that's all that we had for personnel, under personnel.
And the last item is the budget update.
Yeah, just an update on the budget. As you know, our proposed fiscal year 23 operating budget was presented to the boards of selectmen and finance back in January. In February, the Board of Selectmen reviewed all the proposed budgets from all the various departments and made their recommendations to the Board of Finance. And last month, the Board of Finance met and made their adjustments. So the next steps in the process will be next Monday at 7:30 is the preliminary budget hearing at the firehouse across the street. And then the annual town meeting will be at the same location, and that's scheduled for May 16th, as we discussed before. So that's where we are with the budget.
Thank you. There are no other items in our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn the police commission meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second, anyone? Thank you. All those I can't even do that anymore. Mr. Esposito, do you vote in favor?
I vote in favor.
Dr. Seer? Carries unanimous.
So we have nothing on the executive session?
Nothing.
Okay.
Um,
In that case, I vote in favor.
Okay, that motion carries. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Woodbridge Traffic Authority. It is now 7:08. We have a number of items to vote on, but starting off with public comments, is there anyone from the public that wishes to be heard on tonight's Woodbridge Traffic Authority meeting? Is there any correspondence that Janice received that we need to address?
No, there's not.
Okay, so moving on to our traffic matters. Bethwood baseball opening.
Yep. So on Saturday, coming up April 30th, Bethwood Baseball will be holding its annual opening day ceremonies. This is their 50th anniversary, and they plan to start setting up around 8 a.m. and wrap things up with the ceremonial part at around 1 in the afternoon. As usual, they customarily close off Meeting House Lane for pedestrian safety from Center Road to the area of the library, thereabouts, during that time, and they are seeking to do the same this year. They've already filed their application to hold an event on town property that was all approved by the Board of Selectmen. And in conjunction with that, they're seeking the traffic authority's approval for the road closure. I don't have any problem with it, just needs your approval.
Are there any questions of the chief? Is there a motion to approve Bethwood's closure request?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Dr. Seer, how do you vote?
Approve.
Mr. Esposito?
Approve.
Okay, it carries unanimously.
The next item is a request we received from the Milford Prevention Council regarding their 10th annual Ride for Hope charity motorcycle fundraising ride. That organization is a nonprofit organization aimed at reducing underage drinking and preventing youth substance abuse. They've done the same ride in the same route for the last several years. A portion of their ride, it's a 70-mile ride, will be passing through Woodbridge on Sunday, June 12th. It begins in Milford at 10 a.m. and will be concluded by 12:30 p.m. It'll travel into Woodbridge on Racebrook Road from Orange, and then it'll go down Rimmon Road into Seymour. And then later in the day, it'll return back the same route, just going the opposite direction. We've done it and accommodated before in the past without incident, and they're seeking the Legal Traffic Authority's approval to allow them to proceed forward in obtaining their Connecticut DOT highway special use permit.
Chief, do you have any concerns at all about this approval?
No, I'll share it with the patrol staff that's working that day and good to go.
Is there a motion to approve the Ride for Hope charity ride?
I'll move this one.
Is there a second? That's Dr. Seer. Mr. Esposito, how do you vote? In
I
favor?
approve.
Dr. Seer?
I approve.
Okay, that also carries unanimously. And let's keep this ball going. The Woodbridge Road Race.
The Woodbridge Rec Department will be holding its 40th annual road race on Saturday, October 1st from 8 in the morning till approximately 12 noon. They'll be using the customary route from the front of the high school on Newton Road to Burn Swamp Road, Amity to North Pease, to Rice to Center Road for the event. They always have it well-staffed, well-marked with cones and other safety concerns are addressed. We'll dedicate personnel to assist at the main intersections as needed. And the Recreation Department seeking your approval to hold the race. And like the other previous one we just discussed, that they'll be able to get the necessary state DOT permits that they need.
Chief, once again, do you have any concerns that we should consider?
No concern.
This is our last substantive vote, I believe. Is there a motion to approve the Woodbridge Road Race?
I'll move it.
Is there a second? The second by Dr. Seer. Dr. Seer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Okay. Next item is the Route 69 traffic study.
Okay. On March 11th and then again on March 14th, we had 2 more accidents with injuries in the area of Litchfield Turnpike, which is Route 69 at the Clark Road intersection. The March 11th accident also resulted in the loss of utility power in the area. For a short time, it knocked out power to a good portion of the town. Prior to those accidents, back in May and July of last year, we had 2 more accidents at the same location, both involving significant injuries and significant property damage. So there's an ongoing pattern of accidents in that area. There's a curve by Bond Road. There's a curve, a little bit of a curve by Clark Road there. I conducted a cursory check of the crash history that we've had in that area, and we went back for a 3-year period from January 1st of 2018 through today. There looks like there's been a total of approximately 11 crashes with injuries and 20 crashes with no injuries in that area. The residents reached out to us following last summer's accident, expressing their concern, at which time we responded with increased deterrent traffic enforcement assignments in the speed trailer in that area. That's something the deputy chief touched on before. That's all relative to this as well. As reported back in our November meeting, I had made an official request to the state traffic administration for their review of the area because there's a no passing zone on the straightaway there, just south of Clark Road, but north of Bond Road. And a resident had asked for that, for their consideration to maybe make that so it's not a passing zone to help reduce speeding. And the state acknowledged, the acknowledged receipt of my request, but they haven't gotten back to us with their final decision of if they're going to change the markings there. And then just this March, again, I reached out to the DOT for their consideration performing some additional roadside trimming on encroaching brush in the area of 69 and Clark to see if that might help with some sightline distances to assist with our traffic safety efforts. But we'll certainly continue, and as we have been in monitoring traffic and doing extra patrols or promoting awareness with that. But our hands are somewhat tied because of the physical modifications there, because it's a state highway. And there's not too much that we could do on the town side with that. So with the traffic authority's approval, I'd like to make a formal request to the DOT and the Office of the State Traffic Administration that they perform an official traffic study, maybe of the intersection there of 69 and Clark in that area, and see if they could, if we could solicit any traffic safety engineering enhancements, that maybe some additional signage, guardrails, pavement markings, something that they might be able to do and that they feel is necessary that could assist in reducing the number of crashes in the area. So I just want to run that by you. If you're all good with that, I don't have any problem drafting the letter and see if we can get some help from the state on that.
Frank, what factor, I mean, I gotta believe in that area, speed is a very important factor in a lot of the accidents we have in that area.
Yeah,
People speed on that road. I mean, you clock somebody, what, going over 90 miles an hour on that road?
yes, several times, I think.
Several times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot that's people have a tendency to speed in that area. They speed through there. How do you slow them down?
No, just continue our presence and promoting awareness, but
Yeah.
I don't know if they could do anything with any kind of guardrails or anything to help maybe protect some of the utility poles around there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
South of it, because we continue to have the accidents and they continue to hit. It's pretty much they keep very often they hit the same 2 or 3 poles right in the same exact area, and so there has to be some kind of physical improvement possibly or enhancement. I don't know, just a thought.
All right.
Their engineers might have something that they could offer.
Okay.
So we're good with that? I could.
Yeah. Do you
Yes,
you
sir.
need to vote? You need to vote on this?
Okay. No, I don't need to vote.
No, this doesn't require a vote. Yeah.
Just an update on the Seymour Road, Bethmore Road curve update. We talked about that in the past, that a resident had reached out back in last December, I think it was, about the signage and in the accidents in the S curves between Sanford and Bethmore there along the pond, the old pond there. We reached out to the Connecticut DOT and they said there are definitely less signs like the resident said, but that's because they did a study and they changed those signs as a part of a state project. But they agreed to do some research in the area. And so the state did that research and they got back to me recently, and they revealed that most of the roadway departure crashes in that area had to do from slippery road conditions. So over the years, they have done a bunch of drainage work there because it slopes down, the water comes down from one side and runs right across to the other side. But they've been working on that. But they said what they are going to do, they're going to submit that location for consideration in their high friction surface treatment program. It's a program that they have instituted. They issue some kind of a special top layer of asphalt, which is intended to prevent skidding in both dry and wet conditions. So that's one thing they're going to do. And they're also going to add that to their tree trimming list. Their goal with the tree trimming is they think that there's not enough sunlight getting in there also. So when the moisture collects on the road, sometimes it glazes over. It doesn't melt in time. So those are the things that they're going to do. I reached out to the resident and gave him a heads up of what we found, and he was appreciative of that we followed up and responsive to him, and that the state was responsive to him as well. Regarding the Ansonia Road, Davis Road sight line, in February, we received a request from a resident on Ansonia Road in the area of Davis Road, which is in close proximity to the Northrop Baldwin Road, Ansonia Road intersections. And there's a big rock ledge hill in that area. The residents are new residents there, and they were seeking a hidden driveway sign be installed, and also the replacement of a convex mirror in the area. Because it's a state highway, I referred it all to the Connecticut DOT. They got back to me and to the resident, and they advised them that they don't issue hidden driveway signs any longer because they're most often ignored by motorists, and they give a false sense of security to residents. And in respect to the convex mirrors, that's something that they never installed or never permit the use of because of the reflectivity and nighttime driving, it becomes a hazard and distorted view for approaching vehicles. So I reached out to the resident, and she wasn't happy with the state's finding, but we discussed it and she understood the reasoning behind it. But I told her that we would share her concerns with our patrol supervisors, and we have, and the deputy chief's been monitoring it. And that was some of the statistics that he gave you recently, earlier in the meeting. And she also expressed her thanks to the department for the follow-up and responsiveness. Then moving on to the Johnson Road Manville update.
Question about the common errors. So because you see those fairly frequently around. So does the state take them down if they find them?
The convex mirrors.
Yes.
I don't know if they might take them down, but they definitely don't. They don't recommend them, and they don't authorize them or sanction them, and they definitely don't install or replace them. So I think those are ones that people kind of put up on their own, and nobody bothers them, but they're not legal. So regarding the Johnson Manville Road, that's stretched here on Johnson Road between Rimini and Ansonia. So at the last meeting we had, we shared several emails that we received from residents in the area regarding speeding. And in response to their concerns, we increased our police presence and visibility. Deputy Chief shared some of that information with you in our efforts to promote awareness. The Sergeant Rizzuti subsequently contacted Yukon Training and Technical Assistance Center, and they helped us with some technical equipment there, and they installed it on Johnson Road in the area of Manville to get us some statistics. It was there for approximately 8 days up until February 5th, and the statistics that they tabulated was that the average daily traffic was about 713 vehicles a day. The peak times were in the morning, as you would expect, between 7 and 8, the commuter traffic, and then in the afternoon between 3 and 5 p.m. Weekend traffic was more, much more light. They did check this, they monitor the speed, and the median speed there was recorded was 34.5 miles per hour, and the 85th percentile speed was 40.3 miles per hour. So we talked about the traffic history in that block there, that section of roadway, and it was really minimal. There was the one accident the week that everyone filed their correspondences with us. But in 2018, we had one accident in the area, 2019, 2, 2020, no accidents there, 2021, 2 accidents, and then the one I just spoke about. So in summary, the statistics indicate that there's not a significant traffic issue on Johnson Road between Rimini and Sonia. I just told you about the accidents. And the 85th percentile pretty much is, pretty close to the 35 mile per hour posted speed limit there. But we did find that there are no speed posting signs in that block in either direction. So I'll reach out to our public works for that and request that they put signs there, and we will reach out to the residents and we'll share our findings with them, and we'll continue with our speed enforcement and awareness there. But there was no statistical or analytical information that would warrant any reason for that ask for a speed hump or some other physical changes to the area. But really, there was nothing to support that. So I just wanted to share those findings with the board. And the last item I had was the Baldwin Road speeding. Just last month, the first selectman had received a complaint from a Baldwin Road resident concerning speeding on Baldwin Road, which we've gotten a lot in over the years. He's a new resident. He just moved in in the vicinity of Laurel Road. I reached out to him and I explained to him. He gave me some of what he thought might be some potential solutions. We shared his thought. We discussed his thoughts about that, and I shared with him the history of what we've been dealing with there over the past few years, and the efforts we've made, and then most recently how we had the speed limit lowered in that area, and he was satisfied that we'll continue with our traffic efforts there and get the speed trailer up there, which we did, and those are some more of the statistics that Deputy Chief just shared with you. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. And other than that, nothing else for the traffic authority.
Hey, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second it.
Dr. Desir moved, Mr. Esposito seconded it. Calling the vote, Mr. Esposito, how do you?
I vote yes.
Dr. Desir, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Carries unanimously. Thank you all.
I know we're adjourned, but I just had a really quick question, I hope. Can somebody shed some light on the Police Commissioners Association of Connecticut, Inc.? That was in our paperwork.
And so that's an organization that's been around for years, and I don't really know. Honestly, I don't know too much about it. I don't know, Rob, if you were ever involved, or if
I have never been involved, but I know that
former board members have been. I'm not sure.
police commissioners around the state join this. And actually, it entitles you to apply for a police commissioner license plate.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that's, I guess, one benefit of being part of that group, but I have too many other things I'm doing to deal with that. But they talk about issues that they deal with. I know it's mostly comprised of people who are in the larger cities.
Okay.
All right.
Would you like me to get you the information on how to join?
No, it was in our packet.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's an application to join in the packet that came in the mail. So I just was curious if this was something that you were inclined to have us do.
If you want to join, you're more than welcome.
I can't recall anybody ever joining before, to our knowledge, but must have some benefit to it.
It must be.
But I'm not aware of it.
On that note,
No.
Thank you all.
see you on.
Good night, everybody. Have a great
See you
week.
on
Good night,
May
everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you.